we had some games last night. It actually happened, Lou. Basketball was being played out there.
Let's talk about it.
Rockets and Grizzlies up first. Sengun, the guy you just talked about, fueling his team. Big win, 119-113. He finished with 32, 14, and 5. Jalen Green had 27 points, and Ja Morant in 29 minutes had 27, 3, and 3. It's fun. These are two fun young teams in the West. The ground is being held by the 2-seed Houston Rockets in the West right now. I know the Cavs, maybe they're not that surprising to some, or maybe they're just not as surprising as perhaps this Rockets team. How big on the surprise list do you have them?
Really surprising, just the way that this season has gone. You know, this is a team that was all the way out of the playoffs last year in the Houston Rockets. The Memphis Grizzlies were out of the playoffs last year. Now you look up, and they're putting a lot of pressure on these teams that we thought were going to be in the running to win the championship. You know, you look at it, you look at the standings now, all of these young teams that are up and coming, they're here now. They've arrived. This is no longer a coming out party. These teams are here to take them serious. You know, we're leaning on. We're going into tongue tie.
Hold on. Let's breathe.
All right.
Okay.
We're getting close to 40 games. We're getting to that halfway point right now. So none of these things are flukes anymore. The Houston Rockets aren't a fluke anymore. You know, what OKC has been able to do, what the Memphis Grizzlies have been able to do. You know, these are teams that are turning their corner. They're going to put a lot of pressure at the top. So no surprises here. You know, you got to give respect where it's due. The only surprise I got is Dylan Brooks right there shooting that three like that and looking at everybody in the crowd. Other than that, this team has been playing lights out.
I love it. I love that so much. So the West is crazy, right? Because it's OKC, it's Houston, it's Memphis. That's what your top three are looking like at the moment. And we have these mental blocks, I think, when we start looking at standings. And yeah, it's relatively early, but like you said, we're in it now. And yet, I don't know that anyone's looking at the Rockets and thinking, yes, they are ready to actually contend in the West.
They should.
Okay.
They should. They have all the pieces. They got great coaching at the top. They got a lot of young players. They got a lot of young, motivated players. And they have veteran leadership and Fred VanVleet and everything that they've been able to build. So they check all of the boxes. This is a defensive-minded team. They're a tough team. As many skirmishes as they've gotten into this year, they're telling you, we ready to play basketball. We ready to fight. We down for whatever y'all with. We with it. So we're one of those teams that we're going to show up to the arena night in and night out, and we're going to be able to compete. We're going to be able to fight, and we're going to do everything that we can to put ourselves in the position that we're in right now.
Wow, plus 1,500 to win the Western Conference. Those are fun numbers right there. Do they need to add?
It's a reason why that number's so high.
I mean, that's the best that I like to do. Do they need to add? We've talked a lot about how many pieces they have, and they're pretty well equipped if they did want to go out and do something. As is, are you good with it, or would you like to see a tweak?
I like it as is.
Right.
You know, even with them dealing with injuries, I would say probably beef up a little bit in the front court, but you have it. You have it in Jabari Smith. He's going to be out for a while with an injury, but you have those pieces. You have enough guys to go out and compete, and you don't want to rock the boat, especially when you got a team. You're already sitting at the top of the West with two other teams, and you're playing really good basketball going into the halfway point. Why even shake the boat? Stay where you are.
I agree with that too, because it's also depending on who you brought in. It really
absolutely it can mess up everything.
I mean, we see it in Minnesota. Sengun, he's only. This is shock. He's only 22 years old. That's a little bit shocking for me to say out loud. And he's the best player on this team, and he's the only one right now that's even in the hunt to make an All-Star game, which would be his first one. Is it going to happen for him?
Absolutely. It should. It absolutely should. And I would even flirt with the idea of them having an opportunity to maybe get two guys in. But he's a for sure lock. Even if the fans don't vote him in, the coaches are going to do their due diligence. They're going to do their jobs and make sure this guy's been getting in. He's been one of the bright spots of the Houston Rockets, just how his game has been able to grow. Every time we see him, he gets better, he gets better, he gets better, and his team gets better along with it. I don't see a scenario in where, you know, if the fans don't vote him in, where the coaches won't decide to absolutely give this guy a spot on one of these rosters.
He's averaging 19, 10, and 5. And again, America versus the world. He'd be a very nice addition to the world. Man, that team's stacked. I'm telling you, I put money on the world, Lou. I really want this to happen.
You know what? You're not out of bounds for thinking that. If I'm the NBA, I don't even flirt with the idea of having this game. This is an American-built league.
You don't want to be embarrassed?
Yeah, you don't want to get embarrassed. You know, a lot of our young stars, they are international guys. I think the American side, we have enough to hold it down as well, but you're putting yourself in a position for some unwanted PR. I would stay clear of that.
Couldn't we look at it as like, oh, that would be humbling? Maybe it would be some lessons learned.
No, we don't need humbling. We need growth in our game. We need the game to continue to grow. so we can have a lot of positivity, a lot of guys talking about it, continue to put more and more eyes on the product. We don't need any more embarrassment.
I would love it so much. Ja Morant was in this one, his first game back, basically in a couple of weeks. He's only played 21 games so far this season. Numbers are obviously down as a result, part of that. He even said earlier in the season, and people were like, what? That he was going to try to tweak the game a little bit so it's not as physically taxing on his body. Are we seeing sort of the effects of the way he plays now?
No, not to me. I mean, he had a shoulder injury, and we saw the effect of what happened when he ran into that screen, right? That's not him jumping. That's not him being out of control. That's not him playing above the rim. That's running into a really solid screen, and you're having a shoulder issue because of that. And that affects everything, you know, your shoulders, your knees, your lower back. Those are parts of your body that really affect the way that you go out and play the basketball game. And so his numbers being down, I think that's a testament to it. But as you see his career go on, you'll see him start to evolve, start to play a little bit under the rim, play a smarter style of game. He won't run as fast. He'll start playing chess and not checkers. But at this point, I don't think that's what we're seeing. I think he had a real injury that he was dealing with, and it's going to take him some time to get back to the form that we're used to seeing him in.
So how does it work? Like if you were on his team, you were the vet on the team, would you offer advice, or would you wait for him to ask for advice? How would that work as far as his future?
No, this is something that he's going to see. You know, you're going to adjust. Every summer that I had, I would go into the summer and say, okay, what's changed? What did I experience that was different from the season before? And you get back in the lab and you go out and you work on those things, you know? So if I'm Ja Morant, I'm trying to add something to my bag every single summer. But look, see, this is a shot that I'm not accustomed to him seeing.
That's far.
You know, maybe that's something that he's trying to put in the bag. And then once you do that, you say, okay, how can I extend my career? How can I give myself as much time on a basketball court as I can? You know, and that's from taking contact. That's trying to figure out different ways. How can I get to the basket and still be effective around the rim without trying to dunk through everybody? Maybe I go up and I start to power up. Maybe I develop a 5-6 foot fadeaway jumper where I'm still getting in the lane. Maybe I put a floater in my game. Maybe I start posting up a little bit more. Those are just some little knickknacks that keeps you on the floor longer, and it gives you longevity in your career.
Yeah, we don't want to lose all of it.
Absolutely not. Just some of it, just to extend you a little bit.